Let me tell you a story that no one ever hears. A story that happens every single day, but is hidden behind closed doors. There's a man just like you. He had dreams, big dreams, but life wasn't fair to him. He failed, again and again. He lost friends, he lost confidence, and one night, staring at the ceiling in the dark, he whispered to himself, "Maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe I should quit." But something inside him, a small voice, said, "Just one more try." That one more try changed everything. Today, that man is a winner, not because he was lucky, not because he was special, but because he made a choice, the choice to sacrifice, to suffer, to keep going when everyone else gave up. And now you stand at the same crossroad. Story: in a quiet village nestled between misty hills, lived a young man named Arman. He wasn't rich, nor was he powerful, but deep within his heart lived dreams bigger than the sky itself. Every day, as the village farmers tilled the land and merchants opened their stalls, Arman would sit by the old banyan tree near the riverbank, staring at the distant hills, lost in thought. "Why don't you help your father in the fields?" the villagers would ask. Arman would simply smile and say, "Someday, I'll build a life far beyond these hills. I wish to see the world, to be more than just a farmer's son." They would chuckle and mutter, "A dreamer who does nothing but wish. What a waste." But Arman never argued. He was silent, not because he had nothing to say, but because he knew talking wasn't enough. Wishing wasn't enough. He needed to act. One evening, an old wanderer came to the village. His clothes were tattered, but his eyes shone with wisdom. As the villagers gathered around him to hear tales of distant lands, Arman quietly approached him. "Sir," Arman said softly, "I have dreams. I wish to build great machines to create wonders the world has never seen. But I have no gold, no teacher, only dreams. What should I do?" The old man smiled. "Dreaming is the first spark," he said, "but action is the flame that turns it into fire. You don't need gold or a teacher. You need to begin. Start small, start today, but start." That night, Arman could not sleep. The old man's words echoed in his mind. Start small, start today. At dawn, while the village still slept, Arman took his father's broken plow from the shed. It was rusty, abandoned, good for nothing. But to Arman, it was a beginning. Carefully, patiently, he took it apart, studying every piece. He borrowed books from the old priest, pored over pages of diagrams and sketches. He fashioned new parts from scrap metal behind the blacksmith shop. His hands blistered, his clothes tore, his stomach growled. But Arman smiled. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. At first, the villagers mocked him. "Look at the fool playing with broken iron." They laughed. But Arman ignored them. Action, not words. One morning, a loud, strange sound filled the village square. People rushed from their homes in shock. There, rolling proudly down the path, was Arman's invention. A wooden cart with iron wheels, pulled not by oxen, but by a strange mechanism of gears and levers that moved by turning a handle. It was the first self-moving cart the village had ever seen. Gasps filled the air. The blacksmith ran forward. "How did you build this?" Arman wiped the sweat from his brow. "I began. That's all." Soon, the nearby towns heard of the young man who built wonders from junk. Merchants visited, offering gold for his machines. Nobles sent word, inviting him to the king's palace. Arman traveled beyond the hills at last, not as a farmer's son, but as a master inventor. When he stood before the king, the monarch asked, "Young man, how did you rise from a poor village to greatness?" Arman bowed and said gently, "I stopped wishing and started acting. Dreams are seeds, but only action lets them bloom." The king smiled, and from that day, Arman was given land, gold, and a workshop of his own. He created bridges that crossed rivers, mills that ground grain without wind or water, and machines that lighten the farmer's burden. But he never forgot his village, or the banyan tree where he once dreamed. Every year, he returned to remind the young that wishing alone changes nothing. Moral of the story: we all have dreams, but dreams remain shadows unless touched by effort. The world rewards those who dare to move, to act, to try, no matter how small the first step may be. You may be unknown today. You may have no resources, no guidance, no support. But you have two powerful things: a dream and the ability to act on it. Don't just wish, act. Even silently, even slowly, but act. Because action is what transforms dreamers into legends.